All right. So one of the things that I think guys don't understand a ton until they get to the higher levels of the game is, how important the running back is in pass protection, and how pass protections even work. I think when you're growing up, it's kind of like, hey, you're helping out on the edge, or you have this guy, but because you don't really understand defense, you're guessing half the time. What are some key fundamental things in different pass protections, for running backs to understand, and kind of how do you coach that to guys?
Man, like you hit it right on the head, man. I think a lot of guys might learn it later. In the detail that we kind of are about to go over is because I mean it's one of the toughest things to do, man, and protecting the quarterback is one of the most important things. So as far as technique and being assignment sound, at the end of the day, man, it's a battle one on one, usually between you and somebody else that's trying to get to the bank, and you got to look at yourself as the last line of defense. You know, O line might mess up. At the end of the day, we have vision, and we can also make up for mistakes. So, big thing for me is knowing the launch point. We can go over the A gap, B gap, C gap, D gap, how to take on a rusher, how to do these different things. But in the back of your mind, as long as you know where I'm at in relation to where the quarterback's throwing the ball, it'll help you out a lot. And a lot of that is shorten up the space and shorten up the time. But um, just knowing, hands inside, your feet have to get you there first, not being too far. There's so many details to go over in that aspect that it's I think it's one of the toughest things to teach. But at the end of the day, it's a want to, and it's one of those things. Like training camp, I remember, one on ones is one of the things that passing and all that, fine, man. That's easy. And when it came time to see who's really what and who's really about the business, it came when it came time to protect the quarterback. And for me, that was one of my times to shine. So I've always, you got to take it. Like you got to respect it and really harness that, man. And as a back, if you can go back there and coach can trust that you can hold on to the rock and protect the quarterback, it doesn't really matter, the other things, man. The fact that you understand and it shows that you really care about what's happening around you. Having an understanding what the O lineman's doing and how it fits into my job will allow you to work better and be a much better complete back. So take that stuff to heart. And when you're in there, look at it as a challenge. I know there's games where, we had a 108-yard TD pass, Mike Riley, BC coming, A gap blitz, and I know it's happening. But I also know in the back of my head where I need to be. But what's going to be on the other side of that is a 108-yard touchdown. If you can hang in there and do what you need to do. Because, a lot of defenses, when they do blitz, they're kind of, you got to look at it as a sign of disrespect. They're coming home, they're trying to get you. And if you can protect the house and they can get hit in the mouth on the opposite end, that's what it's all about. So first thing, man, is launch point. Obviously, position, hands, feet, eyes, all of that. And knowing where you are, where the launch point is and how you fit into the scheme of what's happening. And the biggest determining factor I look at as a unit, because it takes everybody to protect the quarterback. Same way it takes everything for everything else to work in football, is it's not just sacks or picks. I feel like a lot of picks are like direct relations to us messing up front, or a back doing, or somebody not picking up somebody, or soon enough a ball gets tipped because we didn't get up or take away the space because we didn't recognize it fast enough. So picks, sacks, and also number of times your quarterback gets hit. Let that guy stand back there and play 7-on-7 style football. It's a different style of game, but that's not the reality of the situation. So we try and limit the number of hits, sacks, and picks, and it's the whole unit. So that's my thing on that, man. And at the end of the day, you're the last line of defense, and you got to stick your nose in there sometimes. Sometimes it's not going to be a matchup you like. You might end up on the D lineman, but at the end of the day, man, you fight, scratch, do what you need to do to protect the bank or whoever you got back there slinging the rock.
Absolutely. And it's so crucial. Like you talked about earning trust, and in training camp, it's so true. Like, you're making plays in Skelly, great. Catch a ball out of the backfield, great. Maybe you get lucky and you get some reps with the first team O line and you hit a nice run, great. All the defensive vets are going, okay, we get a one-on-one pass rush. We'll see. We'll see
No
if
doubt.
it's, whether you're a freshman, new guy on the team, or whether you're that guy that's trying to make the jump. Hey, you were a pretty good rookie last year, and we're looking for you to have a bigger role. or the kid coming up from the JV to the varsity. I think every defensive player knows, hey, we get one-on-one pass rush, we'll figure out what that running back's about. And
and it allows you to do more as an OC, right? If you got a back in there that can protect, run, and catch the ball, defenses might play you a little different, So give yourself the best chance as the back to stay on the field. You want to stay on the field. Don't come out of there because when you come in there, they about to pass you the ball. Forget that. We're blitzing her. You know what I mean? Just take it upon yourself to I'm talking to my backs out there, man, to be the complete back. And that includes special team side because the one-on-ones and the special teams are a direct window to your soul. Coaches say that all the time. I can watch on film and see who's really trying to do what. You're going to be out there catching balls early, trying to do the OBJs and doing all that fancy stuff for the YouTube or Instagram. But at the end of the day, when the film come on, you're sitting there breaking down film with your boys or watching the game, that's when it really matters. And that's really we're going to see who's really made of what and what you're willing to do for sacrifice for your teammates. So it's a big thing. And it's not just, it's no black and white. It's no gray area. It's either you did it or you didn't, so that's the thing I love about it. But yeah, man, like you said, Coach, the protection is vital, man, to the overall success of everything.
And if you want to kind of talk us through, what you're seeing in these protections and, even just a little information about the protection in general. Obviously, we're not going to, do the whole X's and O's on every single blitz, but, what type of protection is it and what's your role as the running back?
Yep. Here we switched it up late. I think we went with the 65, which will put our center to 51 to his left and will put me on 56. So really, he's taking up space. I'm taking up space because I know, you know what I mean? Right now, they're trying to take advantage of the center and myself here with the 2 wide 3 techniques with the 2 wide 3 D tackles. They're trying to take up space to allow these 2 backers to work 60 and 31 myself. So here, I've taken away the space inside out. I think they wanted to go opposite of this, but I think with our late switch and late getting lined up that we kind of messed up the stun of the blitz, which they run the same blitz later, but we pick it up a little bit better. And really there it's about just keeping your man on the line of scrimmage. I probably would have liked to have my head on the other side of him, but really I'm kind of using that. I take away the space. The contact point happens at the line of scrimmage, so it's not as bad. If this was like a yard back in the line of scrimmage and my head's on that side, it's bad. But the fact that I can use that space and use my momentum to press them and keep them at the line and just wash them down, we're good.
That's huge. Now, pre-snap here, I know obviously they show this pretty early, when they walk up. You talked about the center working to his left there to 51. Do you have any other responsibility in this protection? So if I think that's 56 there, if 56 were to drop out, where would your eyes go next?
Sky. So we call our Sky any secondary blitzer, So Sky to the right side first. So if it's 65, I'd be protecting to the right first. Say he dropped, I'd Sky outside to the right. And then my eyes will go back to a scan potentially for that to the left. So some protections, we only go one side. If it's 360, if it's 3-step drop, it's usually one side. Inside out, get out. Ball should be out. Most other protections, we have a my man Sky scan rule. So we kind of go through all 3. Awesome. But here we pick it up, we get the ball out, and receiver does a good job.
I think your comment about taking away space is so critical. I think that's one of the reasons why knowing your protections and there's a million different ways you can protect the quarterback, right? You're obviously in the CFL, the passing game being what it is, you need a variety of protections to meet the needs of the passing game. At your high school, you might have a guy, you might have you have your drop back protection and you have bootleg maybe or whatever, have less options. But I think one of the things that gives particularly young running backs trouble is not being able to identify who their man is in protection. So now they're not able to recognize, okay, if my guy walks up, is the O-line going to take that guy now and I got somebody else? Or is that still my guy? And like you said here, I better go, if he's taking space, I better go take away space.
100%.
If I'm going to have to have this collision, especially in the A-gap, I want it right beside that guard and center, right? I don't want to let him get out of the bottleneck and now, Now it's like one-on-one pass rush drill, right? But instead of being training camp, you got
Exactly.
you
I
got
got guys.
40,000 people there.
And also, like you said there, then they get in the quarterback's lap. It might not necessarily be a pick, a tip ball. That's why we say number of hits, sacks, and picks. You know, you want to keep the quarterback clean. Weird kind of front, right? Did you see the O lineman? Hold on, let's go back. So right here, they call it, I want to say maybe a little bit prior, they call it an eagle front. So they're buying 4. You see 4 over there to the far left on the edge standing up?
Yep.
So 1, him, the guy down from him, the whole 5 down, kind of the guy on the far right who's off the ball just a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 56 initially. All right. So my guy drops. I ended up tapping my head because they showed another pressure you can't see from this look. And he looked like he was coming outside. Another guy was coming outside the edge there. He ended up dropping, which I would have brought in 18 to take 56, but 56 drops, so 18 can release. And on my way out, like I said, sometimes you got to pick up work. I get out clean, but again, this front is to try and pick our center. They want to get a one-on-one with our center. You see how much space is in there between the A-gaps? I'm not supposed to be there. You know what I mean? This guy's working a move that he's probably practiced on all week just for this play. And then he gets the chop, but no, you're there. But that's also watching film. I understand what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? And I'm last in progression. So if there's something else I can help solidify up in the middle, especially in the A-gaps right here, they're trying to do something. If it's empty like that, either somebody's coming into it or they're going to play a game in there. So at the end of the day, the fastest point to the quarterback, north-south, same way for us to the end zone, north-south. So pre-snap, I know what's happening. And if my guy drops, I'm also, not saying that my guy Justin can't handle the situation, but just as an antenna to always keep your glass, full, not full, but always be learning. Don't just, it's about the team and doing your job. Yes, in my younger days, I'm trying to release and get in a quarterback vision, maybe catch a rock, but really it's not about me. Situation, given the timing and everything. It wasn't a great block, but I freaking have my guys back enough for him to recover.
And that's where I think, again, it comes down, like you said, like that pre-snap preparation,
yeah.
Right? And knowing and understanding. And this is, as the O-line coaches listening to this are going to be banging on the table right now,
yes.
Because they're, they understand, hey, there's certain times, like obviously, the O-line has a job to do, right? But there's certain situations that, like, knowing which O-lineman is in the hardest position.
Yeah.
You look at this right now, you're talking about recognizing, hey, this center's on an island, in these
big island
situations, making good decisions is hard. And, hearing you talk about your pre-snap preparation, knowing, hey, when they're in this front, they're trying to isolate the center. So instead of going and chipping with the guard, like you recognizing, hey, we got 2 double teams here. Like these guys got that.
Let's solidify this thing.
Yeah. Now you like you said, your quarterback's in a great position here to deliver a confident throw. But if you're out here trying to catch a check release that's never going to get thrown,
exactly,
the quarterback's not getting you in that progression, like you said, it doesn't have to be sacks, but tips, hurried throws, inaccurate passes, right?
Yes.
These are the little things that make a difference.
Same idea as that other one. We have the 60s taking 56 initially. All right, that's his guy. Our center's working right. I'm coming down with momentum to prevent this pick. They're trying to confuse myself and 60 again here. So pre-snap, tackles on 4, guard 90. Everything else is lined up, as you see. Center has 56. I'm trying to hold pistol because I think this blitz is based on my alignment. So if I was to line up here on the right side, let's say the running back's right, I think this loop would be the other way. You would see 56 smacking them in the ear hole and 51 looping to the field A. And here, instead of me waiting on them to make that pick, I collision him at the line of scrimmage, knowing that they're trying to twist, and we friggin' pass off this. We call it a bloody nose blitz, man, double A gap, which doesn't happen too often, but it felt good to have it. And
No,
myself and 60, we definitely crushed a couple of pints post game after winning this game and
all
talked
the
about
people
these.
who are watching this, that looks simple. Like, oh, they must mean to do that all the time. And all like the
Heck no.
guys who played or guys who are coaching are watching this going, man, they just passed off, a twist between the center and the back. That's next
Out of
level.
pistol. Yeah, man.
And
But
I
when you execute it and you score, man, it's awesome, brother.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I think like again, it comes back to understanding your role in the protection, right? Like okay, not even just, hey, I have this guy, but now understanding, how the defense is going to try and use your rules against you. Right. Like it comes back
Exactly.
to the thing, once you get rid of, okay, first you got to know what you don't know, right? You got to understand your job, but what is impacted by your understanding of everything else. So your ability here to say, okay, I know that if I stay in pistol, this pressure is going to be harder for them to run. And then
Yes.
from a physical standpoint, now I see and I recognize it. I go, okay, I held my ground as long as I can. Now I'm going to go, step up, take away space. And for you to understand, hey, like 51's not going to rush straight. He's going to try and pick the center. That
No
changes
doubt.
your thought process
Yeah.
toward reading his body, right?
Yeah.
And it's I think it's one of the things, it's empowering as a running back when you have that understanding, right? Like it's a stressful game, and especially now, like I did a thing on my favorite blitzes of 2021, and
Yeah.
I'm looking at going, man, like defenses are more creative now than they've ever been, right? Like
No doubt.
this is an
We
old
got answers for those too, though, Jackson. We got answers, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can only get to that level of understanding like once you've hammered down the basics. So,
Yeah.
that's a huge point there. And that level of execution, like that is, you have the physical aspect of it, you have the pregame aspect of it, and then you have your ability to recognize it in real time. That's super challenging. So, it's been great, talking with you about protections and previously talking about the zone run scheme, and, talking to you, it sounds like we're gonna have more opportunities to work on some stuff.
No doubt, man, for sure.
Thanks. And I'll give Coach a shout out on Twitter and Instagram as someone who's, obviously this is one of the things that my hobby that I'm working on right now, but I know there's always people asking me, who should I follow? Where can I get good information about Canadian football? And not that not learning about the American stuff can help you, like we do some of that, but you're looking for great Canadian football content specifically around, offense and playing running back, playing fullback. Where can people find you on Twitter and Instagram?
Man, it's the C McCarty 31, man. Not 100% on it, but we'll post it or something. CMCCARTY 31. Instagram the same. Nah, man, thank you for having me, brother. I think there needs to be more of this, especially around our game, because it is unique. And I think what people don't know or what people don't understand or they don't know, they kind of would push to the side. So that's why I thanked you in the beginning, man, and it's big. And whatever we could do to help grow the game, because at the end of the day, it's bigger than us, and it's about passing it on to the next so we can sit back and watch them play the game the right way. And I appreciate you doing what you do too, Coach. So I thank you for having me, man.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. And looking forward to doing more in the future.